All right. So this week we're reading about the gifts that each of the leaders of the tribes brought, and the Torah says that they all brought the same gifts. And Rashi, on the gift of the tribe of Yisachar, the son of Sur, Rashi explains the meaning of the gift. Rashi says that he gave a spoon, a golden spoon that weighed 10 shekel. Why one spoon that weighed 10 shekel? Rashi says the word spoon is connected to the word hand. Kaf is a spoon. Kaf is also connected to the word hand. And it refers to the Torah, which was given from the hand of Hashem. And it weighed 10 shekel of gold because the Torah has 10 commandments. And it was full of spices, of ketores. The word for spices in Hebrew, ketores, is numerically equivalent to 613. So Rashi is saying that the Torah has in it 613 mitzvahs. The golden spoon, which weighs 10 shekel, has in it the spices. So it's the Torah has in it 613 mitzvahs. That's the reason why Nisanel gave a golden spoon to be a hint to the Torah and thanks to Hashem for the Torah. Then Rashi talks about other sacrifices that they brought. They brought 5 rams, 5 goats, and 5 sheep. Each of them brought the same thing, and Rashi explains the meaning of why the tribe of Yisachar brought these 3 kinds of things. He says there are 3 kinds of rams, sheep, and goats because there are 3 kinds of classes of Kohanim, Leviim, and Yisraelim. And again, corresponding to Torah, Neviim, and Ksuvim. Then Rashi says, why were there 5 rams, 5 goats, and 5 sheep? Because there's 5 books of the Torah, and there's 5 of the 10 commandments on one of the stones, and 5 of the 10 commandments on the other stone. That's what Rashi says. So we have in this Rashi 2 sacrifices, the spoon and the various animals. And Rashi says both the golden spoon and the animals correspond respectively to both the Torah and the 10 commandments. Right? We have in the spoon, it weighs 10 golden shekel. Why? Because of the 10 commandments. And Rashi says why there are 5 rams and 5 sheep, because of the 5 commandments in one tablet, 5 commandments in another tablet. And we also have a hint in the animals as well for not just the 10 commandments, but the whole Torah. As it says, Rashi says there's 5, 5, and 5. 5 for each of the commandments, each tablet with 5 commandments, another 5 for the 5 books of the Torah. And also Rashi says the spoon is the same thing. The spoon has a hint to the 10 commandments because it weighed 10 shekel, and it also hints to the whole Torah because it was full of it was one spoon coming from the hand of Hashem. So the question is, if Nisanel wanted to hint to 10 commandments, to the Torah, we can understand it. But why does he want to have 2 sacrifices which say exactly the same thing? There's 2 sacrifices, and each sacrifice has a hint both to the Torah and to the 10 commandments. And each one, so why do you have to have 2 sacrifices saying exactly the same thing? There must be a difference between the 2 sacrifices. We need to understand what exactly is the difference between them. So the reason why there's 2 sacrifices for these 2 elements is because in the 10 commandments and the Torah itself, there are 2 parts. There is the gift of the Torah, and there is the recipient of the Torah. There is the way the Torah is in the parameters of the giver, and there's the way the Torah is in the parameters of the receiver, the one who receives the Torah. Hashem gives us the Torah, but there is the way the Torah is in the, so to speak, the way it is as a gift from Hashem, and there is the way the Torah is as it is in the parameters of the Jewish people, how we receive the Torah. So, for example, it says in the Talmud, the Torah is compared to fire. Hello, Hashem says, my words are like fire. Says the Talmud in Chagiga, why is the Torah like fire? Just like fire cannot become impure, so too the Torah cannot become impure. Why can the Torah become impure? Because the Torah is the words of Hashem, the pure words of Hashem. The Torah is godly. The Torah is in the parameter of, is in the realm of Hashem. Then the Torah says another thing, though, in the Talmud. Says if there's a rabbi and someone steps on his toes and insults him, is a rabbi allowed to forgive the guy? Or does he have to say, no, respect to the Torah? I have to protect my honor because it's not my honor, it's honor of the Torah. So the halacha is that a rabbi who forgives his glory is forgiven. Why? Because it's not considered the Torah's glory, because it's considered his own glory. It is the glory of Torah, but he has ownership of it. So that means there's an element of Torah as it is in the parameters of the recipient, how the recipient takes ownership of the Torah. And just like this is true in the Torah, this is also true in the mitzvahs of Hashem. There are 3 mitzvahs the Torah says that it's better to die than transgress. And regarding the rest of the Torah says that it's better to transgress than die. There's a discussion if you're allowed to die, if you want to. But overall, the commandment of the Torah is that you have to give your life for 3, and the others you don't have to. Not only you don't have to. General way of looking at it is simply is that you're not supposed to. So why can't you give your life for them? Why the other one you have to? Because the first 3 commandments of idolatry, adultery, and murder, those commandments, they represent how the Torah is in the jurisdiction of the giver of the Torah. And therefore, it overrides the life of a human being. And therefore, Hashem says, keep this law no matter what. But the other laws of the Torah, they are the way the Torah is given into the parameters of man. And therefore, if they're going to take over a man's life, Hashem says, no, the Torah is given to man, and man has to be there to see the Torah. As the Torah says, V'chai b'hem. You should live in the laws of the Torah, not to die in them. And just like this is true in these commandments, the 3 commandments that you're supposed to die for, and the other commandments, we also find a similar distinction in the observance of all commandments. There is the halachic requirement for each mitzvah. Then there's going beyond the halachic requirement. So why there are 2 different levels of observance of Torah? Because there is the requirement of Torah is the obligation that Hashem says you're obligated to keep the Torah. That's the way the Torah is in the parameters of the giver. And then there is the Torah as it is in the parameters of the receiver of the Torah. There is the way the Torah is given to us. And then Hashem says you could choose how frum you want to be, how much you want to do. So as the Torah is in the realm of the giver of the Torah, you have to keep these laws. These are the laws, and that's it. But as the Torah is in the realm of the receiver of the Torah, Hashem says you can go beyond the law, what the law requires. But it would seem what Hashem wants us to go beyond what the law requires. How are you? If Hashem wants us to go beyond what the law requires, so why did Hashem place in the Torah these 2 classifications of obligation and going beyond what the law requires? If Hashem wants us to not just do the bare minimum of Torah, we would think that Hashem wants of us more than just doing the bare minimum. If that's what He wants, how come Hashem made some things obligatory and some things voluntary? If Hashem wants us to go all the way, so why didn't He say that you're obligated to go all the way? Why didn't Hashem just make all of Torah to be lifnim mishursin? You have to do it as best as you can. You have to go beyond the law. But instead, Hashem chose some mitzvahs, well, not some mitzvahs. There's an element of each mitzvah which is an obligation. There's an element of each mitzvah which is up to you, how far you want to go. Why is it? What do you think? Why does Hashem make some mitzvah part of it obligatory and some of it only if you want to? You're allowed to. If you want to go all the way, why didn't they make it obligatory? Huh? Oh. 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 The answer is very good. There are two components in a mitzvah. There is the bittul in a mitzvah. There's putting yourself aside to fulfill the will of Hashem. And then there is as the Gemara terms this, mitzvahs were given to us to purify us, to elevate us, to make us better people. When you're not obligated to do it to get the best esrog, and you get the best esrog, why are you getting the best esrog? Because you want to get the best esrog. In that activity, you are becoming more refined, you're becoming more pure, you're coming closer to Hashem, you're making it personal, you're making a change in yourself, you are becoming elevated by the experience. You're giving of yourself. If it was all obligatory, so then there wouldn't be an element of change within us. So Hashem specifically doesn't make going beyond what the law requires something that you have to do. There's the law, and there's beyond what the law requires. But Hashem wants us to be elevated by the experience. On the other hand, it would seem that, okay, so then make the whole thing voluntary. Why doesn't it make the whole thing voluntary? If the whole point is to elevate us, to make us be elevated by experience, so we should give of ourselves in mitzvahs, it should be us, not because we have to. So then why is there an obligation in the first place? And the answer is that Hashem also wants bittul. There's two components that Hashem, two intentions that Hashem has in giving us the commandments. One is our bittul, our self-obligation for the will of Hashem, that we put ourselves aside to the will of Hashem, that we have reverence for Hashem's law. It's not about us, it's about His law. And there's another thing Hashem wants to give us, and that is that we should be purified, that we should be elevated, we should be transformed, it should be our own experience. So because Hashem has two intentions in the mitzvahs, therefore Hashem makes each mitzvah have a part of it which is obligational, and a part of it which is voluntary. So a mitzvah means to connect. Each mitzvah has these two components because there's two ways we connect to Hashem. We connect to Hashem by putting ourselves on the side to do what Hashem wants. We connect to Hashem by giving of ourselves. And each of them has an advantage. This is the meaning of the passage of the Talmud. Talmud says, Ani lo nevresi Hashem shoskeni. I was not created for any other reason but to serve my master. Because you're obligated to keep mitzvahs, because you have to do them, that underscores that that's the purpose of your existence. That why you're here to do as serve Hashem. So it's not about you and how you feel. Because you're obligated to keep a mitzvah, that underscores the godly element in mitzvahs. How it's in the realm of the giver, not the receiver. It's about Hashem giving us the mitzvahs. And that gives us this abnegation to Hashem, this realization of our identity, that who are we? What are we about? We have to serve Hashem. That's why we were created. The fact that mitzvahs are obligatory, that we can't choose if we want to, don't want to keep them, that highlights our identity as Jews. That what are we? Why are we here? We're here to serve Hashem. But Hashem also says in the Torah, "V'chai b'hem." You should live in mitzvahs, as mentioned before. So, since Hashem wants us to be excited about them, that they should be our own experience, that we should feel it. There's an element of Torah as it is, again, from the giver, and how it is in the realm of the receiver. Hashem wants us to receive it. Hashem wants us to be our own experience, that we like to do it, that we're excited about it. And therefore, Hashem left the whole realm of Torah to be a gray area. You want to do more? You want a nicer restaurant? Gesundheit hate. You want a nicer pair of tefillin? Gesundheit. You don't have to. Because Hashem wants... There's two parts of Torah. There's the way it is in the realm of the giver, and the way it is in the realm of the receiver. And so to our observance of Torah, there is these two components. This is in general, not just in our observance of Torah mitzvahs, but there's also, not just in which mitzvah, till now we're talking about each mitzvah itself. There's a part you have to do, and there's a part that's voluntary. The truth is that the distinction between the giver of the Torah and the recipient of the Torah exists in every mitzvah, not just in segments within each mitzvah, but in every mitzvah itself. Why are you doing the mitzvah? At Mount Sinai, there's an argument between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shmuel. What the Jews said when God gave them the Ten Commandments. And Hashem said, do not kill. What did everybody say? So according to Rabbi Shmuel, they said, no, you won't kill. Hashem said, believe in Hashem. Everyone said, yes, we'll believe in Hashem. That's what Rabbi Shmuel said. Rabbi Akiva said, they said in every mitzvah, they said, yes. Believe in Hashem. Yes. Don't kill. Yes. What's the difference if they say this or they say that? Either way, they're doing what Hashem wants. They're accepting it. Whether they say no or they say yes. What's the difference if you say no to don't kill or you say yes to don't kill? What's the difference? The difference is, why are you saying no? Why are you saying yes? According to Rabbi Akiva, they didn't feel at that Mount Sinai, they reached the highest level of observance of Torah. And the highest level of observance of Torah is that you just do what Hashem wants you to do. Don't think about the details. He sanctified us with His commandments, and He commanded us. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's an esrog. Doesn't matter if it's a matzah. It doesn't matter. It's all the will of Hashem. So that's what Rabbi Akiva said the highest level of keeping mitzvahs is. What Rabbi Shmuel say? Shmuel says the highest level of keeping mitzvahs is to look at each mitzvah. Look what each mitzvah is meant to give you. Hashem doesn't want you just to be a zombie, keep his mitzvahs without knowing what they're about. Hashem gives you specific organs and limbs and sinews and veins that correspond to all mitzvahs. There's 613 mitzvahs, 248 positive, 365 negative commandments corresponding to the limbs of a person and the veins of a person. Why? Because Hashem wants every part of us to be in touch with His truth in a different way. Hashem gives us the mitzvah of honoring our parents to convey to the human being the feeling of gratitude in general. Hashem wants us to be people who have gratitude. The mitzvah of honoring our parents isn't just we're supposed to do that the same way we keep every other mitzvah. It's supposed to give us a different feeling of gratitude. And so to each mitzvah has something else meant to convey to our psyche, to convey to our different soul powers. Each mitzvah has a different segula, a different spiritual remedy, how it rectifies our character. As the Rambam says, that the mitzvahs are given to us to rectify our perspectives. Each mitzvah has something else that it gives to us. So Rabbi Shmuel says, when Hashem said, don't kill, they said, no. Hashem wants us to reject murder. Hashem wants us to be part of us, to be repulsed, be disgusted by murder. According to Akiva says, no, they didn't focus on the details of each mitzvah. They focused on, this is the will of Hashem. Don't kill. Another mitzvah. Wow. Another mitzvah. Don't bow down to idols. What did Rabbi Shmuel say? They said, Chas Hashem, feh. And the Hashem said, don't bow down to idols. They all said, feh. According to Akiva, they said, yes. Another mitzvah. Wow. Great mitzvah. Let's do that. Whatever Hashem says, all the way, we're in. Doesn't matter. So who's right? So in general, there's another argument between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shmuel, similar, as we can see now, it's a similar argument. At giving the Torah, it says there was lightning, there was thunder. And there's an argument that they see what's usually seen and hear what's usually heard, or did they see what's usually heard and they hear what's usually seen? According to Rabbi Akiva, they saw what's usually heard. What's the meaning of seeing what's usually heard and hearing what's usually seen? The physical reality is what we usually see. At the giving of the Torah, the physical reality became something distant. The spiritual reality is something we talk about. We don't see it. The truth of everything is something we're not in touch with our eyes. We could talk about it, we understand it, we believe in it, we don't see it. So the giving of the Torah was usually seen, the physical reality, according to Akiva, became very distant to them. What is that? It became distant. The spiritual reality, usually we just talk about, became tangible and vivid in front of their eyes. What's usually heard became something they saw. Akiva says that's the ultimate experience. Go beyond the world. That to see what's usually heard and hear what's usually seen. According to Rabbi Shmuel, no. Hashem gave us eyes and gave us ears and He gave us parameters in creation. And we're supposed to live with those parameters and supposed to elevate ourselves according to the parameters of creation. That's the highest level. So Rabbi Shmuel was a tzaddik, a perfect tzaddik. He was a kohen gadol. Rabbi Akiva was a Baal Tshuva. So from the perspective of the Baal Tshuva who makes dramatic changes in his life, so he feels more the element of escapism from the world. The idea of how the Torah is beyond creation. How the Torah is in the realm of the giver, if you will. And therefore, Rabbi Akiva says, what they feel in each mitzvah, the will of Hashem. Not the details. What does Hashem want? There's a will of Hashem. It doesn't matter what it is. often when I put on tefillin with someone who doesn't usually put on tefillin, some of them, sometimes they put on tefillin people which they're familiar with some things in Judaism. Like they went to, let's say, a Sunday or from Sunday school or something. I've heard different responses. The most common one is and the bracha of washing the hands. Another one is Lahalik Ner Chanukah, light the menorah. Lahalik Ner Shal Shabbos. There's a lot of other lahashik, and the truth is that there's an advantage in that perspective. It doesn't matter what it really is, does it? Does it matter if it's a menorah or if it's washing your hands or if it's Hashem wants. And Hashem wants that perspective. Hashem wants us to cultivate the perspective of Rabbi Kiva and to have this is the will of Hashem, doesn't matter what it is. But Hashem doesn't just want that. Hashem wants us to also have what Rabbi Shmuel was saying. He also wants us to look at each mitzvah and each mitzvah to give us something else. Each mitzvah is meant to be something different to us in our experience. We're supposed to be imbued with love of Hashem, and our heart's supposed to feel a reverence for Hashem. It says in Hayom Yom that just like when you're going through a hard time, you see a good friend, all of a sudden you feel good, you see a good friend. So too, the mitzvah of loving Hashem is your heart should feel a love for Hashem. It should change you. Your heart, you feel different. You feel love for Hashem. You feel a geschmack. You feel excitement. That's the mitzvah of love of Hashem. There should be a change in the experience. This should be something that should affect us. And so too, every mitzvah is meant to be something that affects us and elevates us. So we have two components in each mitzvah. We have the way it is in the realm of the giver. That is, Hashem said so. And there is another element in every mitzvah, and that is, what does it give me? What does Hashem want me to learn from the Luv and the Esrog? What am I supposed to internalize in this mitzvah? So because there are two components in Torah mitzvahs, therefore there are two gifts of the tribe of Yisachar, two gifts of the prince of the tribe Naso. First of all, he gives a spoon, a golden spoon, that represents the hand of Hashem. So his gift is about the way Torah mitzvahs is from their perspective, how Torah mitzvahs exists within the essence of Hashem in the realm of the giver. And therefore, the spoon itself has in it the weight of 10 golden shekel, representing the 10 commandments. The 10 commandments are part of the spoon. They're the weight of the spoon. The spoon has inside it incense. Incense is the numerical equivalent to 613, the 613 commandments. The 613 commandments and the 10 commandments, they're all part of the spoon. You don't see a distinction in one thing and the other. It's all part of the spoon. You see how it's all about the will of Hashem, how it is in the realm of the giver, and therefore there's no distinction between one commandment and the other. It's all the same. It's all from the hand of Hashem. That's the how Torah is in the realm of the giver. Then in the Son of Mensur about a second gift, which represents the Torah, how it is in the realm of the receiver. What's the second gift in the Son of Mensur? The second gift is the 5 rams, the 5 sheep, and the 5 goats, representing the 5 commandments on one tablet, the 5 commandments on the other tablet, and the 5 books of the Torah. Our question was, why give another gift? It's the same things. 10 commandments, 5 books of the Torah. What's the point? The answer is that we're talking now about how the Torah is in the realm of the receiver, how there's a distinction between one thing and another. Not the way the Torah is in the realm of the giver, how it is by Hashem, how we receive the Torah. How there's a distinction between one thing and the other. And therefore, there's 5 commandments on one tablet, making distinction. 5 commandments on another tablet. And then there's 5 books of the Torah. And the Torah is divided in 3 categories. There's rams, sheep, and goats correspond to 3 parts of Torah, prophets, and writings. That's the way the Torah is in the realm of the receiver. And that's, again, because Hashem wants us to have these 2 components in our observance of Torah, that we're supposed to keep the Torah mitzvahs. We have, just to recap all different things we discussed today. There is an element of Torah, Hashem says to us that these mitzvahs die for. These mitzvahs, you don't have to die for. There's an element of Torah says you have to do, and there is going beyond what the law requires. There's an element of Torah, this is the will of Hashem, do it because Hashem said so. Then there is another element of Torah, what are you taking from this experience? What's your takeaway? And these respective differences in our observance of Torah is because of these 2 elements in Torah, as the way Torah is in the realm of the giver, as the Torah becomes part of us, part of the receiver. And Hashem wants the holistic, Hashem wants the whole person. He wants it to have this subservience, but he created our whole being, our heart and our mind, because he created all of us, our whole being, because he wants all of us, every part of us, be connected to the Torah, to have this subservience, to have the identity that we identify as servants of Hashem, and to have the bittul. On the other hand, to be something of experiential, that's us and we own it. Any questions or comments? Yes. Right. So the fact that the Jewish court in this world makes decisions about Torah, and only the Jewish court is entrusted with making decisions, that's how the Torah is in the realm of the receiver. But even as the Torah is in the realm of the receiver, and the halacha follows what the law of the Bezdin says, at the same time, even what the Bezdin rules, this is the law of the Torah, says the Talmud about this, the words of Torah cannot become impure. These words of Torah that the Bezdin just issued, the Bezdin just made up, it's still godly words, it's still holy words, it's still Hashem's words. The Torah is Leba Shamayini, but it still retains this element. And on the one hand, the people of the Bezdin say, we forgive our honor, and that's because the Torah, it's their Torah, they invented it. On the other hand, the words of Torah cannot become impure. There's a beautiful teaching of the Ramban that really helped me understand a lot of things in Yiddishkeit, which is relevant to this conversation. The Ramban discusses the idea of prophecy and halacha. And halacha cannot be ruled. You cannot give halachic rulings based on Ruach HaKodesh, based on divine inspiration. It has to be by the majority opinion. So the Ramban says that although the Talmud says that prophecy largely departed after the destruction of Bais Hamikdash, it still exists, but there used to be much more widespread. There used to be many more prophets. But he says prophecy was only taken away, as the Gemara says in Bava Basra, only from the prophets. Prophecy wasn't taken away from the wise men. In other words, when Abai and Rava are making a halachic ruling based upon their own understanding, Nachmanides says you should know there's divine inspiration in their words. They don't know it, and they can't know it. They can't be I don't know if they don't know it. They know that they're close to Hashem, but they're not ruling because Hashem is guiding their minds. Hashem is guiding their minds to come to this halachic ruling, and that's why Bais Bezalel. Today's Yom Tavoach. Today's the day that everyone followed the opinion of Bais Shammai. The halacha is like Bezalel, like you allowed to slaughter the carbon oil re'iyah on Shavuos or not. The halacha is your but we follow the opinion of Bais Shammai practically, and everyone does the slaughtering of the oil re'iyah the day after. Why do we follow the opinion of Bezalel? They were the majority. Who was smarter? Says the Gemara. Where it says Bais Shammai was smarter. So Hashem made most of the sages not be as smart as Bais Shammai, because that's what he wants the halacha to be then. When Mashiach comes to their Rizal says, they're going to be smarter, they're going to be as smart as Bais Shammai, and they're going to give a rulings according to Bais Shammai. That's halacha has to be then for that era. So Hashem guides the halacha itself, guides the mind of the sages. He guides the majority also, because halacha has to follow the opinion of the sages, and yet that itself is guided by Hashem's hands. It really helped me understand a lot of things in Judaism, this idea. Because you think about this, they're arguing, and their opinions, and is it logic or is it godly? Is it Ruach HaKodesh or is it human? The answer is it's both. It's their human mind understanding this is the way halacha has to be, but who made their mind to work that way? And that's what Hashem wants halacha to be that way. So Hashem created the mind. First there is halacha, and Hashem created their mind to be according to the halacha. And then when Mashiach comes, it has to be a different halacha. Hashem creates the mind to be different. All right. Yes.
5 commandments of each side.
Yeah.
There's 5 and 5.
And the 5 books of the Torah.
And then you said 3.
Oh, there's 3 groups of 5. 5 sheep, 5 goats, and 5 rams.
Okay.
So they correspond to the 3 kinds of books of Torah: the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. Or according to another opinion in Rashi, another Kohanim, Levin, and Israel. So the distinction we're making in the book, these five and those five, is because we're talking about Torah as it is in the parameters of the receiver.
I'm sorry, Torah